I'm Ian.
And we are Velocities in Music. Today we're going to review the new Death Cab For Cutie album entitled Codes and Keys. Death Cab For Cutie. What a sore subject with me. Death Cab For Cutie is a band that I think all three of us here have listened to much in the past.
Yes.
I grew up on Death Cab, shaped a lot, very influential in a very influential part of my life, which was high school for me back in the early 2000s. And really, the album that I grew and got into Death Cab was We Have the Facts and We're Voting Yes, which is their second album. Then they came out with the photo album. Then they came out with Transatlanticism. And then they came out with Plans, Narrow Stairs, and then this. So this is quite a bit into their discography now. You're seeing a band that's aging. You're seeing a band that's maturing in sound and searching for a new sound because as they've grown in popularity, they started as just recording just on just this crappy 4-track, and then these indie recordings that just skyrocketed in popularity, and then all of a sudden these guys are on a major label making really poppy indie music for young teenage girls. And how do you make this? That's not a blow to you. Just give me a second. I'm talking about Plans. And how do they go from point A to point B? Well, it was a logical progression actually when you look at what Death Cab did and where they've come from. We Have the Facts being this giant concept album, and then transitioning to Transatlanticism, where it was still kind of this concept, some really deep, insightful, and very almost like they were code lyrics, and that was something that was very intriguing to me. And then Plans, brought in this whole new era of Death Cab For Cutie, and fans for that matter, the much more emotive, much more, it got labeled as emo music. And I thought that the songwriting took a hit, personally, but then you had, the follow-up Narrow Stairs, which saw Death Cab going in another direction. So what I have to say about this band is that they're always changing their sound, they're always trying something new, and I appreciate that. Anytime a band does that, that's a good thing. So now on Codes and Keys, you have this much more mature Death Cab sound, and I gotta say, Death Cab, I'm gonna quote my friend Quinn here, Death Cab has become like a bad alcoholic dad to me, and it's like you love them so much, but every time you go see them, they just hurt you a little bit more, and it's just, you just get to the point where you just so desensitized that you just don't want to go see them anymore. And that's how I was with Codes and Keys, and so now here I am, and we're reviewing Codes and Keys, and I forced myself to listen to it, and I gotta say, this album it has grown on me. I did not like it at first. I've started to like it. It is very much, it is the most cohesive thing I think that Death Cab has released next to We Have the Facts, and so on. So I'm interested to hear what these guys have to think because I've kind of said my piece on it already. So Ian, take the hilt.
Well, I like my dad. Whether he drinks a lot or does cocaine or whatever he does, I really like my dad. And if there's one thing Ben Gibbard's not doing, it's cocaine. What he's spending a lot of time doing is Zoe Deschanel. And I don't think that the music has suffered because of that. Here's the thing for me, right? A little bit of history for me. When I was in, late middle school, I think or maybe it was late high school, I think, when Plans came out. It's the timeline's all fuzzy because of the drugs. I listened to Plans, and I loved it, right? It was at a time when my music tastes were developing, and I followed a lot of indie kids, from those of you from the Des Moines area, from Roosevelt High School. Bless their souls, they really knew their indie music, and they were super emo with their thick rimmed glasses, but they knew their stuff. And so I listened to Plans, and I really loved it. I fell in love with it, and it was a soundtrack to me for a really long time. And then, honestly, I just kind of fell out of favor with Death Cab For Cutie. It's not that I didn't like them, it's just that I didn't listen to them for a while. So when I came back to this, and I saw the journey, I went from point A to point B, perhaps without seeing the progression in the middle, and that may be what's shaping my opinion. I saw this huge leap. I saw this huge leap in Ben Gibbard's maturity in his life circumstances. Instead of being the one who was suffering, he's become the one who suffered. And I think because of that, he's got a lot of sage wisdom to share with us. I mean, granted, sometimes he does it in campy and sort of contrived ways, but at the same time, I'm not going to ding him for that because he's kind of a sentimental favorite for me. Just moving forward, this is the pains of being pure at heart all over again. These are the brain listeners, this is the heart listener. This is the two-headed monster that is VIMTV. And because I'm the one that listens to it with my heart, I loved this album. It was a beautiful rise and fall. It was the sentimental, it was the breakups, it was the makeups, it was falling in love and falling out of love. It was the melancholy progression of a human being through life, further understanding his circumstances and the things that life puts in front of him. It was this beautiful, simple, straightforward, articulate, emotional masterpiece for me, all culminating, frankly, in the last two tracks, including, what was track 11? St. Peter's Cathedral. I'm really mad at myself for forgetting that, because it's one of my favorite songs of all time now. Culminating in St. Peter's Cathedral, where you feel like you're sitting in this giant church, contemplating your own mortality as the rays of sunshine shine through the stained glass windows, and you just feel so small in the world. I think they really, really capture that. And then finally, the last track, Moving Forward, sets you off on this beautiful life path with all the wisdom that Ben Gibbard had the time to impart, and I think it was an incredible journey along the way. Criticism sandwich. Tom, take it away.
All right, sloppy thirds. I'm going to try to do my best to make this brief, but I can't promise anything. So first off, right off the bat, I noticed that this is the most cohesive, flowing album that Death Cab's put out in a while. Jake said it, and he was right. I mean, these songs flow together into an album so much more than their last two. But the problem is, for someone who loved Death Cab's first 4 albums so much and loved the sounds on there, I feel like the last 3, including this one, from Plans to Narrow Stairs to this, all of them have seemed a little forced. Like, it's just not natural and comfortable anymore. And this one, I think, is much better than the last 2, I gotta say. Codes and Keys far surpasses, for me, Plans and Narrow Stairs. But the...
Especially in the songwriting
yes,
department.
in the songwriting department, for sure. Also, on this album, I like that the production, they have the vocals kind of underneath in the mix. Whereas usually it'd be way up high in the mix and clear as day, and that's what really gave them that kind of poppy sound that turned me off to it. The vocal production is more like their very early stuff than anything, because, you know, you've got these filters on Ben Gibbard's voice, makes it more about the instrumentals. But the big problem for me were the lyrics and the way that they were delivered. I just said about Arctic Monkeys a couple episodes ago, I don't gripe on lyrics a lot, but the thing is, last time I listened to this, and then I let it flow into Something About Airplanes and We Have the Facts, and I realized why I like those albums so much better. Because Ben Gibbard was so much more believably heartbroken. He didn't have to make it obvious in the lyrics. He had lyrics like, you know, Little Fury Bugs off We Have the Facts, track 6. You discovered that casual friends kept notes in their pockets to remember your name. It's like so biting, and the way he sings it is so believable. He sells it. And then here you've got Some Boys Don't Know How to Love, and When There's a Burning in Your Heart. And it's like he can't deliver it in a way that makes it believable, so he has to make the lyrics as accessible as possible. There's no encryption to them. It's just flat out, here's some kind of Hallmark card type stuff. And I don't really like it for that reason. I definitely like the early stuff when he seemed to be this believably heartbroken persona, and now he's banging the super hot Zooey Deschanel, and it just doesn't work anymore for me. But still, I disagree with you a little bit there, but still, I did like this album. That's my one big complaint. Overall, this is a good listen. For me, it sags a little in the middle, but it starts strong and ends strong, and there's just some good tracks on here.
It sounds like you and I are exactly in the same place. I'm going 75 on this. I felt like a lot of great songwriting, great production, as you said, Tom. Mm-hmm. The mood on this album is very solid throughout, and really the last 2 tracks, I agree with you actually. That it puts this wonderful end to this album that I think is something to really be listened to. And I think that Death Cab fans and Death Cab fanboys like all of us really are, it comes down to your own personal taste. That's why we try to put a package of different reviewing styles together and a package of different belief systems, because it's to exemplify to you guys how important each and every one of our own opinions are in listening and interpreting music. And it's not that there's one right way to do it. It's all about what you believe and what you can take away from it and how you can present it to other people. And that's what VIMTV is all about. 75 for me.
I'm going 73.
If you've read my review, you know that I have a very personal connection to this album. I love the progression, I love the sounds, I love everything about it. I'm going a 97.
Yeah, and please go check out Ian's written review at vimtv.tumblr.com. Also, please leave us a comment on this episode. We're super pumped about this album. We know a lot of you guys out there love Death Cab and want to say something about it, and probably have great opinions on any Death Cab release, but especially Codes and Keys. So leave us a comment at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and as always, stay true to your own music beliefs. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
I'm Ian.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.